Welcome back to the Premier League show. Let's get more now on the crisis at Tottenham Hotspur, who are looking for a new manager to lead them through a relegation battle. Let's go back live to Michael Bridge. Michael, news tonight that Robbie Keane would be interested in taking over as Tottenham head coach.
Yes, David, yeah, that is some news, but we also understand that he wouldn't be looking for an interim role. It's also worth saying that there's no indication yet from Tottenham Hotspur that they would be interested in Robbie Keane, but obviously Robbie Keane has done a brilliant job, hasn't he, abroad with the 2 roles he's had so far. But the last few days, Spurs are just taking stock, and obviously the huge news about Thomas Frank being sacked, and Spurs players have got a few days off now ahead of training at the start of next week, and a massive North London derby next Sunday. To talk about all this, I've got Chris Cowlin from the Spurs Chat Podcast. Chris, just a line on Robbie Keane. He wouldn't be willing to take an interim role, we understand. Is that someone you've been looking at, Robbie Keane?
Well, I think Spurs definitely need someone that is going to unite the fans right now, because there is so much discontent and there's a lot of frustration. Of course, Robbie Keane is a Tottenham legend here. I think that Spurs could look at him in the future, but as you've said, it's understood that he's not interested in an interim role. So I think the plan now is 33% of the job is done where Thomas Frank has gone out the door. It's now the other 33% is getting in an interim, and then the other 33% in the summer is getting in a permanent appointment. But how many times have we been here?
Can you understand Robbie Keane's point of view? You know, if he kept Spurs up, did all right, then there'd be that worry that Spurs would maybe look elsewhere?
Well, of course, he's very happy and doing a great job for Farrell at the moment. So, why would he come in to be an interim right now? He would probably more want to have a permanent position. It's going to be a difficult one. The board have a big job on their hands now to try and make that decision on who is going to keep Spurs in the Premier League, because we've got 12 games left. We're sitting only 5 points above the relegation zone right now. But we've also got those key Champions League games to play as well.
Look, Spurs have, in terms of revenue, the 9th richest in the world. We know there's no PSR issues at the moment as well. Isn't there an argument as well they should look to get a really quality, world-class coach, because relegation's unthinkable?
Yeah, Spurs should always have a world-class coach, and we have had a couple of world-class managers here. Sadly, it hasn't worked. Transfer windows have always been such an issue. Of course, on the overlap today on Sky, Ange Postecoglou saying what he did today about the players that he wanted to bring in after that first season, and we ended up buying Dominic Solanke and 3 teenagers with respect. But how many times have we seen top managers here and they haven't been backed properly, and we haven't brought in that top calibre player? They've always been downgrades instead of players of real quality, and players always for the future rather than players for now.
Would you have given Ange Postecoglou maybe season 3?
I think a lot of people would have given him season 3. I think when that parade here along the high road in May was simply incredible, and when he came out with that line about season 3, I think a lot of people would have given him season 3. But it's all about the backing. Ange Postecoglou, he put all of the eggs in the basket of the Europa League. He brought success here, what he said that he was going to do. He spoke to the media so many times and said, I'm going to deliver that trophy in my second season. He absolutely did. He proved a lot of people wrong, and he wanted top players in that season. He didn't get them. But he still got Spurs over the line, which, when we talk about world-class managers, we've had world-class managers. They haven't got us over the line and won that trophy. Ange did that.
Wilson Odobert, ACL. Romero out for the next 3 games. Whoever does come in, there aren't much players to choose from, and some forwards will be out for the majority of the season. Whoever comes in, that is a tough job.
It's a tough job, whoever comes in, but I'm sure that they'll be paid a lot of money to come in and keep Spurs in the Premier League. But, we've got to be honest and frank about it, that, there are a lot of quality players in this team, and whoever does come in needs to get the best out of them, instill the confidence, back into those players, and hopefully we can climb away from the relegation zone. But, yeah, it's a huge job for whoever does come here.
So the meeting's going on maybe today in the next few days. If someone said, go on, Chris, let's get a fan's view. That's how we like doing it, don't we? With the fans' opinion. You walk in. What would you say to them? What would your advice be?
I would say bring people in now with passion. Where it means something to Tottenham and where it means something to them. Perhaps ex-players or even ex-managers. I know Tim Sherwood and Harry Redknapp in the last couple of days have come out and said that they want the job. I'm sure that now Thomas Frank has departed Spurs now, I'm sure there'll be a lot more people in the hat putting themselves in the hat for the job. But we need to make the right appointment. The decisions are very tough, but the decisions have to be right, because sadly over the years we've seen so many poor decisions, and we're about to appoint a 7th permanent manager in the 6 years that we have been at this stadium.
Finally, Spurs going to stay up?
Yes, we are going to stay up, yeah. Absolutely.
Mr. Positive, yeah. Chris Cowlin here. Of course, it's been a tough few days for Spurs. No more Thomas Frank, and some big decisions to be made over the next few days in terms of an interim or a permanent head coach for Tottenham Hotspur.
Thank you, Michael. Well, Chris was pretty clear that Spurs were going to stay up. What's your view of it, Dean?
I mean, they could easily go down. I do think they will stay up.